Good morning. First of all, I would like to thank Venerable Lee, the director of Won Dharma Center, for inviting me to this special Interfaith retreat to celebrate UN World Interfaith Harmony Week. Also, my sincere gratitude goes to Dr. Abadi and Dr. Moran, who will offer their insights along with me today. And I would like to convey our gratitude and share our mutual hope for world peace with our distinguished guests and audience. One of the most sincere wishes of humanity is peace. Also, the history of mankind has been marked by an incessant pattern of conflicts and war. The underlying current of humanity has always been the eternal longing for peace. But unfortunately, greed deeply rooted in human nature has been the major obstacle toward peace. Excessive greed bred by one's egoism inevitably leads to conflicts and the exploitation of others. Ultimately, the subjugation of the weak and the silence of the oppressed wrap peace up forcefully. However, we must remember that at times religious conflicts have not been caused so much by the clashes between religious institutions, but the justification for political power and desperate measures to shield greed. The religion teaches us to curb our greed not by insisting on the satisfaction of our desires, but by forgiving others and cultivating tolerance and compassion in addressing the greed of others. This is the key to world peace and the golden rule in world religions. St. Francis of Assisi prayed for peace with these profound words: "Where there is a hatred, let me sow love. Here there is injury, pardon. Here there is doubt, faith. Here there is despair, hope. Here there is darkness, light. Here there is sadness, joy." His prayer explains in detail the appropriate attitudes and actions we must take as peacemakers and the instruments of peace. The Charter of UNESCO declares that sincere war originates from the human heart. Peacekeeping must also come from the heart. I interpret the true meaning behind this declaration as the following: peace is possible only when the seed of peace sowed in the human heart comes to fruition. I think that herein lies the true vocation of religious leaders. In October 1970 in Kyoto, religious leaders from around the globe who convened to found the WCRP declared that the religious leaders of the world are all together responsible for world peace. The core of this message was expressed in the following way: we confess with humility that we have neglected our religious ideals and the responsibility for peace. It is not religion, but religious leaders who have abandoned the universal cause for peace. Indeed, the source of religious conflicts and the division lies within us, not religion itself. Therefore, it is up to us, religious leaders, to heal the wounds caused by religious conflicts and to usher peace into our world. If religious harmony is the quickest path to world peace, then we religious leaders have most important mission for the world peace. To this end, World Interfaith Harmony Week, initiated by the UN, is not only a welcome sign of progress, but also a milestone for religious leaders who must now shoulder the heavy duty of world peace. In 1980s, concerns for clash of civilization and the interminable religious conflicts in the Middle East expressed in the United States and Western Europe initiated the preventive measures and the possible solutions proposed by the United Nations. As a result, UN Declaration on the elimination of all forms of tolerance, intolerance, and of discrimination based on religion or belief was approved for the first time in 1981. After which, until 2011, 11 similar measures were proclaimed in the United Nations and thereby encouraged the members of the UN and the social organizations to help promote religious harmony, mutual respect, cooperation, interreligious dialogue, and communication. Especially UN Declaration on World Religious Peace, passed in 2010, indicates the threats and the urgent need for peace in the 21st century global society. Of course, the UN Declaration have no enforcement jurisdiction in effect. However, the fact that they reflect the conscience of humanity assigns moral responsibility for all of us. It is the responsibility of members of the United Nations to respond positively to the declarations, resolutions, mandates, and the recommendations issued from the UN as long as they are reasonable and undeniable. To this end, the Republic of Korea, as a member of the United Nations, has honored the UN resolution concerning World Interfaith Harmony Week by hosting events, cooperating with the social organizations and interreligious organizations since 2011. In fact, KCRP, of which I am serving as the president, has not limited the awareness week to the first week of the president's February, as designed by the UN resolution, but has extended it throughout the year in order to promote further the spread of religious harmony in Korea. In particular, Korea has designed the Harmony Week of fellow religions as the theme of the event and introduced our citizens to a tour of religious institutions, Fellow Religions Day, Regional Festival of Religious Culture, National Convention for Religious Harmony, Ceremony, and the Proclamation. The theme, Neighbor, or Fellow Religions, was coined in Korea, and it reflects the interactions of religions and the realities of interreligious culture that are unique to the Korean society. I had the opportunity to visit Tehran in 2011 under the invitation of the Iranian government to give the keynote address at an international conference themed Dialogue Between Religion and Culture. Here, I introduced the term fellow or neighbor religion used in Korea, and I was told that this innovative terminology left a profound impression on the audience. Korea is a museum of religions, housing some 50 religions and 600 religious denominations. Nevertheless, Korea has not experienced the religious wars or conflicts serious that are plaguing many countries around the globe. I believe that this is because the Korean people have always upheld the tradition of revering heaven, God, throughout the centuries. The fact that they have respected not only the higher beings of their own religion, but also those of their fellow religions had a profound influence in shaping the Korean culture of religious tolerance and open mind. Therefore, the understanding and the respect for not only one's own religion, but also that of others, and the cooperation with the fellow religions are the shortcuts to interreligious harmony. And the reconciliation of humanity through religion is the shortcut to world peace. For this reason, we religious leaders must not fall into religious conflicts, ideological battles, and the secular power struggles, but must become the vanguards of reconciliation and peace in the world. It is because reconciliation and peace are far more powerful, eternal, and safer than the latest weapons. Professor Leonard Schuler said, "The future of humanity demands two choices, death or dialogue." Interreligious dialogue is the defining sign of our centuries to save human society from future destruction. Cooperation and dialogue with our neighbor religions is not only the path we must take to realize our most sincere wishes of everlasting peace, but also the finish line that is our common goal. His Excellency, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, Secretary General of the United Nations, in his message on 1st February, marking the beginning of World Interfaith Harmony Week, said, "Religious leaders must address the world with the language of tolerance and respect, and emphasized this as the key word for World Religion Harmony Week. Today, we resolve to promote world peace through interreligious dialogue, cooperation grounded on mutual respect, tolerance, thereby renew our commitment to World Interfaith Harmony Week that is commemorated last Thursday in the UN General Assembly." I'd like to conclude my speech today by praying that our wish for world peace and harmony deeply rooted in our hearts is realized in our real world. Thank you very much.